Welcome, everyone, to Lively Fable Learning. I'm so excited for our shared English co-reading time today. As a fellow learner, I am absolutely ready to dive headfirst into a colorful, comic book-style reading adventure with you all. We're going to step right inside a classic story, pick apart some really fantastic E3 level vocabulary, and master some incredibly useful action verbs along the way. So get ready to expand your English skills through the sheer power of a great story.
So, to kick off this explainer, let's ask ourselves a pretty massive central question. This actually sets up the entire conflict of our spectacular fable today. Think about it. Would you rather eat like a king, surrounded by magnificent, mouth-watering food, but live in constant, terrifying danger? Or would you rather eat simple, kind of boring beans, but live in total, absolute peace? It's a genuinely tough choice, right? Keep your personal answer in mind because the two main characters in our story today are going to have to make this exact same decision.
Section 1. Welcome to the country. A humble feast. All right, let's open up our storybook. We're starting off in the quiet, peaceful, and very humble countryside. Imagine rolling green hills, a cozy little dirt burrow, and a super simple way of life. Our story begins like this. A town mouse once paid a visit to his cousin who lived in the countryside. The country mouse, though poor, welcomed him warmly and set before him a humble meal of beans and barley. Now, pay close attention to those action verbs. As an E3 learner, spotting these verb phrases is literally like finding a hidden treasure. They tell us exactly what our characters are doing.
Now, what's really cool here is how these two simple verb phrases perfectly capture the country mouse's welcoming and generous spirit. Pay a visit to simply means, well, to visit someone. It's a very polite, almost formal way to say you went to see a friend. And set before? That means to place food directly in front of someone for them to eat. Even though the country mouse only had plain old beans and barley, he proudly set it before his fancy city cousin. It shows true, genuine hospitality.
But how does the fancy cousin react? Let's read on and find out. The town mouse turned up his nose at such plain fare and urged his cousin to come back with him to the city, where, he boasted, food of every delicacy was to be had in abundance. Just imagine a comical, exaggerated cartoon face of the town mouse looking absolutely disgusted as he stares down at those simple beans.
This is honestly one of my favorite idioms. Learning the phrase, turn up one's nose at, gives us a wonderfully visual and humorous way to describe someone acting, well, a bit snobby. Literally imagine lifting your chin and pointing your nose up in the air because you think something just isn't good enough for you. That is exactly what the town mouse did to the plain fare, or simple food. Then he urged his cousin, meaning he strongly advised and really pushed him to leave the country and experience the rich city life.
Section 2. A feast in the city, luxury and delicacies.
So we leave the quiet dirt roads behind and enter a totally different world of bright lights, massive buildings, and rich, incredible food. That evening, the two of them feasted upon the remains of a grand banquet in a splendid dining hall. Wow, we literally go from simple beans in a hole to a splendid dining hall. The contrast is absolutely amazing. And notice that powerful verb phrase right in the middle there, feasted upon. To really anchor this verb phrase in your memory, picture a massive, colorful mountain of rich delicacies, cakes, cheeses, meats that the mice are happily stuffing into their faces. To feast upon doesn't just mean to eat. It means to eat a huge amount of delicious food with massive, greedy enjoyment. It is a brilliant E3 vocabulary phrase to pull out when you are talking about eating a holiday dinner or your absolute favorite meal.
Section 3. The cat strikes. Danger in the dining hall.
Suddenly, the whole vibe just completely flips. The pacing goes from relaxed and luxurious to absolute cartoon panic. The mice are happy, their bellies are full, but in the city, luxury often comes with a very steep price. But no sooner had they begun to eat than the door flew open and a cat came prowling in. That structure, no sooner than, is a brilliant piece of grammar. It means the very second they started chewing, bam, the door flies open. The danger is instant.
This grammar structure is an absolute game changer for storytelling. No sooner did one thing happen, then another crazy thing happened. And look at that word prowl. By understanding prowl, we can almost hear the sneaky, quiet, deadly footsteps of the cat creeping up on our feasting mice. It's not just walking, it's hunting. It's moving silently with the pure intent to strike.
The terrified mice fled for their lives. "Farewell, cousin," said the country mouse. "I would sooner dine on beans in peace than feast like a king in constant fear." They barely escaped the giant claws of the cat. And in that terrifying, breathless moment, the country mouse makes his final, definitive choice about where he truly belongs.
To flee for one's life is the ultimate action phrase for a desperate escape. You aren't just jogging away, you are running away to avoid death. And notice how "would sooner than" is a fantastic E3 phrase to express a strong preference. Just like the country mouse deciding he prefers safety over a splendid banquet. He would sooner eat beans than live in fear. It's a beautifully advanced, natural way of saying I prefer A over B.
Section 4. Interactive Role Play. Step into the story. Okay, time for a quick pause and some practice. It's one thing to read the words, but it's a whole other thing to actually use them. Let's do some role-playing where I want you to step directly into the character's shoes and actively use the key verb phrases we just learned. Role-playing number 1. You are the fancy, snobby town mouse. You have just been served a bowl of plain, boring beans. How do you react to this country food? Think back to that funny, snobby phrase we learned earlier involving your nose. What do you say?
Boom! I turn up my nose at this plain fare. Great job. You totally nailed that arrogant attitude by using the phrase, turn up my nose at. You are acting like the food is just way beneath your high standards. All right, let's switch it up. Role play number 2. Now you are the country mouse. You have just arrived in the city, and you are sitting on a massive dining table absolutely loaded with cakes, cheese, and meats. Imagine that huge mountain of delicious delicacies and tell me, what action are you taking right now? Exactly right. I am feasting upon the remains of a splendid banquet. Using feasting upon perfectly shows that you are eating with massive cartoonish enjoyment. You aren't just snacking, you are going all in on this luxurious meal.
Okay, the final test. Role play number 3. You are both mice, happily eating, when suddenly the door flies open and a giant, scary cat prowls into the room, baring its sharp teeth. Quick, the danger is here. What is the action phrase you need to survive? What do?
Spot on. We flee for our lives. Honestly, that is the only correct answer here. That is a dramatic and highly useful verb phrase for literally any dangerous situation. You drop the cheese and you run as fast as your little mouse legs can possibly carry you.
Section 5. Golden words and moral. The big takeaway.
You guys did absolutely amazing with that practice. Let's wrap up our vibrant storybook reading journey by looking at the deep meaning behind the mice's adventure. Every great fable has a lesson to teach us, and this one is an absolute classic. This comparison brilliantly illustrates the sensory and emotional contrast that forms the beating heart of our fable's lesson. Look at side A, the country. You have poor, humble beings, plain fare, but absolute peace. Then look at side B, the city. You have luxury, splendid delicacies, and total abundance, but it comes with constant fear and dread of the cat. The story asks us to really weigh these two sides.
Okay, before we get to the final moral, let's do a rapid-fire review of our key E3 verb phrases from the story to permanently lock them into your memory. Pay a visit to a friend. Set before them a nice meal. Hopefully they don't turn up their nose at it. Instead, you can feast upon it together, as long as you don't have to flee for your life from a predator. These action phrases truly brought the entire story to life for us today.
And that brings us to our golden sentence, the ultimate lesson of the story. A modest life, free from fear, is better than luxury full of dread. It is a beautifully crafted sentence to remember. So, I will leave you, my fellow learners, with one final provocative question. After exploring this explainer together, think about your own life. What hidden cats of dread are lurking in your own luxuries? And is it perhaps time to return to your peaceful beings? Thanks so much for reading along with me. Keep practicing those phrases, and I'll see you on our next learning journey.